That's it. I think that'll be it.
Okay, well, we're live now, and I played my intro a few minutes ago for nothing. I thought that we were live, and me and Tony have been here talking and everything. So I don't know what the deal is, but I thought we were live, but we wasn't. So
Hold on a second. I'm checking to make sure.
we're live now.
Yep,
I just
we're
don't
live.
understand. We should have more people here because we advertised it for today at 8, but you know, is what it is. Uh, I don't know how everybody feels about this. This is supposed to be a killer. That I'm not supposed to say this, but um, I am proud that President Trump got elected, and I think that he is going to do a great job. And I could not see that the woman Harris get it. She would never say that she was going to do anything about the border or the wall. And today, and they say that Musk and that other guy, Ramaswamy, is going to be the ones that take care of our waste in government. They said right now the government owes something like uh, it's something with 12 zeros, whatever that is, and I'm really happy that they are going to do something about our government, all the wasteful spending. They said tonight that we paid $3 million to follow rats around in Venezuela to see if what tequila would make their mood be. $3 million. Somebody, I mean, why can't I get that $3 million? I could do that. But anyway, hello, Pinky. But we were talking about the Delphi murders and the Delphi conviction, and how we feel like that Allen will have uh, a lot of things he can appeal on. One thing, but it depends on one is um, if he's got the money to pay the lawyers to appeal, and or if the lawyers do it pro bono, because appeal or going through that is expensive. I know. I've got a very good friend that's an attorney. In fact, he was my partner in narcotics for 5 years, and we were very close. And I know that he's told me that it costs $50,000 to $75,000 just to try the front side of a murder case, and even more than that if you have to hire expert witnesses. And I was telling Tony there, I heard somewhere the way they got the bullet. They said that bullet came from the same gun, but the way they had to test it was they racked it in and out of the chamber, and they never could get it to match the barrel or the chamber. So what they did, they shot it, and then they
They
racked it. Then they could tell. I mean, that's just apples for against coconuts. It's not apples for apples, oranges for oranges. I don't. I think that's a appeal case, and I think the fact that they found writing on one of the trees in one of the girls' blood that had some type of Celtic or cultic thing, and I don't think that stuff was allowed into court. The
Nope,
judge
it was not. The judge actually ruled that they couldn't do it.
and the judge ruled they couldn't show the sketches. And I'm telling you, if I was on that jury and they showed those sketches, and I was seeing totally different ones, that's that's reasonable doubt right there to me. But I think it was so that it
Yeah.
and but they had a lot of different things that I was trying to find. Now I did copy it and put it over here in my um, overlays, but because I don't know, I'm just learning this software, and for whatever happened to it, it disappeared. But
Our
I am
favorite,
going
our
to
favorite
it.
judge. Oh, not
Do what?
judge. Our favorite sheriff, Grady Judd. He did another trafficking roundup for missing people, and um, again, this is crazy. Again, people that he arrested were employees of Disney. Again, just like
Well,
what
I
the
mean, Judd is my hero. I've talked to him online before, and honestly, he is my hero. He is not afraid to arrest anybody. And I remember a case, and we've talked about it before, but I remember a case where a police officer got shot, and they chased the guy out into the swamp, and he
Yeah,
shot another officer, shot at another officer, shot the canine dog, and shot it. The SWAT team finally went out there in the swamp, and he was shot like 70, 80 times. The guy did, and they asked him, "Why did you shoot him so many times? You know what was the reason?" He said he
yeah,
shot a police officer, shot a K9. He said we don't take any chances, and it's just you get what you get, and
yeah,
so I man, and he told him, he said, I want when there was a bunch of break-ins in his county, he said, I want everybody to get a gun, and he said, if they come into your house, shoot them, and he said,
yeah,
we will not prosecute you.
yeah.
But but yeah, I don't know. I think I got a pretty good intro here. I've got a bunch of people on there that are missing, and I was looking at it where it went. Um,
You need to play it again because that way people that are joining the channel now, since we're finally online, so they can see it.
at a, I don't know where it. Um, walking down on me. I am learning the software, but it should be up here. I did an intro, uh, but it's not there anymore. The overlay intro is not there anymore. I don't. That's strange where it went. I don't know.
Yeah.
But but anything else you want to mention about that? I'll look for it real quick.
uh, no, not necessarily about the Allen case. I think I'm going to be interested in a case that we got wind of with an infant death where the babysitter was accused of killing the child, but
Was that the one that threw it against the wall?
no, this
There's
one
another
is
one.
yeah, this one's where the mother told the babysitter to give the child Tylenol that apparently was, I guess it was maybe Tylenol code or something, because apparently it had some Benadryl in it, and they ruled that the baby had died from an overdose of Benadryl. But the mother did breastfeed the baby, and the mother had articulated that she had been taking high doses of Benadryl for medication. So I'm not really sure what's going to take place with that, other than based on what I saw and the intros of the case. Uh, I don't really think the babysitter is going to be guilty of anything, because she even took a picture of the medicine prior to giving the baby the medicine. The mother, I'll be quiet while that.
I don't know where.
Well, go ahead and open up the page where it's just showing that.
Okay, so
What was the state or location on those last 6 or 8?
The last thing,
Yeah,
I think it was New Mexico. It's Indians. It's
that's what I was
Indian
about to say
reservation.
because I know the Indian um, reservations are beginning to lose people, like somebody's
Well,
trafficking them.
yeah. Well, we did a thing last year on that. That it's
Hmm.
amazing on how much Indians. The problem is the tribal police don't have enough people. They said that like a area of the state of the top, say from Birmingham north in the state of Alabama, that are Birmingham south or Montgomery south would only have two guys working the whole area. So it would be it's crazy. Now most of that area is desert. Most of that
Right.
area is highways that run through the desert. So if they would have went out through that area, there's a good chance that they're
Yeah.
uh, not going to be found. But
Yeah.
it's if you they've got a thing now, and it's really they're really starting to be popular as far as um, working to find the missing. Is they take red paint and they put it across a female like this, and then when they take their hand away, it's red paint, and that's the I don't the moniker that they use. They're missing, and it's not just females. There are quite a few males also missing, but
Hmm.
for the females, it's amazing how many females. And it's not just New Mexico; it's New Mexico, Arizona, all over the Southwest. It includes Alaska, and there's so many missing in Alaska. There are signs, and I hope to get the pictures of them as we go to Alaska next year, where they say if you're do not hitchhike in this certain area of the road. You know, it's dangerous. So many people have been missing on this road, but
Hmm.
there's amazing how many up there in a one section of road that have been. It's almost like there's a serial killer working that area of the road. That's a trucker. They have those truck drivers, oil and all kinds of stuff from up north in Alaska
Right.
all the way down south. So that's what they actually think. That's I've read where they do think that it is a trucker that has picked up these women and they've disappeared. And the basically, I mean, Alaska, they could actually park on the side of the road, drag them into the woods, and a bear or whatever would take them. You know, they'd never
Right.
find them. You know, but I hate it that we don't have that many people here tonight. We usually do, but we have lost, I think, 8 people in the last 7 days from this channel. I don't know if they got mad because of we're trying to experiment a little bit with different things. And we just don't have the. I don't have the money to go out and buy a $400 and $50 type of software that I had last year. That was Streamyard. It's very good, but I just don't have the money to do it. So if they to do better. I do want to cover some Indians that some of the Native American Indians that are in Arizona and organizations that it's Native Americans that are missing. Uh, there one we could even get one or two of these people on the show to share
Okay.
that, but they're not going to come on a show with 3 people watching. So, it's going to have to. We're going to have to try to build it again. I did this now where with that.
I think that I think as it looks like from way I'm looking at it, we've got two watching.
which I usually coming early online, but I did go and there is some people kind of interested in the Morphew case again. They've talked about trying to pressure, which I don't think you're somebody from outside of Colorado is going to pressure the DA in Colorado to prosecute a case. If you were in that county, you would stand a better chance and put some political pressure on them. They're not worried about somebody in Alabama or Tennessee putting political pressure on them. It has to come from the same state. You know, there's nobody going to do that. And I know people want to talk about that case. They want to talk about the Suzanne Morphew. They want to talk about Barry Morphew, but you know, till there's some prosecution or whatever, talk about it.
Yeah.
The other cases, there were some cases we used to have. I remember when our channel first started, and we were on 3 days a week. At that chance, there's no way I could do that now, but we were on 3 nights a week, and we had 2,000 people in the room at one time. 2,000. So people are interested in people that are missing, for sure, but they're interesting cases. I did hear a girl talk today about the Summer Wells case,
Yeah. And
and what she said was that there is a this guy was named he had 18,000 subscribers too, and his name was something White Boy, um, Country White Boy or something like that. He had 18,000 subscribers, and he said that he had heard from somebody that Summer Wells was seen in a car at a gas station by somebody, and his thing was, and I agree with him 100%. If you think you see somebody, like if you think you see Summer Wells in the car with anybody, why didn't you call the police? Why don't you report it? Not just say, well, I think I saw her today in a car. You better report it. You know,
yeah.
she's going to be about 12 years old now. If that's it, personally, I don't think, you know, I don't know. I don't think she's alive. And that's just my opinion. Um, would you take a chance if you were a kidnapper and keeping that child alive? Most kidnap, yourself, most kidnap victims,
They're dead in
sure,
48 hours.
yeah, they're dead in the few hours. I mean, they don't quite take hardly any time before they're killed because of the fact that people know if they do something like that and they're caught, they're going to jail forever, you know.
Well,
Um,
we have to do something that crossed my mind when you were showing the ones that were missing. It made me definitely think back about the mysterious 24 people of Nome, Alaska missing, and they were mostly men from a neighboring native village.
Yeah. Well, there's tons of women up there. Like I said, on that highway, it's the highway of no return. But there's if you go out west, I mean, it's amazing how many Indian females are missing now. Miss, uh, I heard from a guy inside the Metropolitan Police Department. He said that 95% of all missing people they get are runaways and they come back. It's
Oh,
just
and
the 5% he's worried about. I mean, they had several kids. I'm talking about little kids under 3 years old, 2 and 3 years old, that were missing for like 2 and 3 years out of Milwaukee. I think they found out one or two of them, they died, they were dead. they were killed.
Oh
But
yeah.
just like the guy, it's I want to say it's in Milwaukee because we listen to Milwaukee news. Uh, said that they had a boy there that got mad at their baby because it was crying, and I don't think it's his baby, but he threw the baby against the wall, and he was pretty upset at his prelim. I don't blame him because he's going to go to prison forever. But then
Mm,
he heard at the prelim the baby died, so then it raises it up to a larger stake, and the way they treat people that abuse, kill kids in prison, that I'm sure
right.
he's not looking forward to that either. And I don't think they have a death penalty case in Milwaukee, so it's probably going to be life without parole or 35 years or whatever like that.
Well,
Um,
I'm kind of curious also how many people might still be missing from Helene.
well, that's weird about that. I heard the other day that I think they had a couple hundred people dead, but they only currently right now only missing seven at this one.
Seven?
I think now it's not in Florida. It's up there on the coastline, up there between 4 or 5 states. They've narrowed it down to about, I think, seven people. But did you hear too about there was a guy? I don't think it's in Florida. I don't remember exactly where it was. I just ran across it in one of the news feeds. He supposedly, and they found his kayak, but thought he was dead. But
Right.
come to find out, he had a girlfriend, an Eastern European girlfriend. He went back on his computer. They went back. He thought he erased it all, but he didn't, and found out where he took a large amount of money out. He basically got a $350,000 life insurance policy on himself, and, and then his own he
Oh.
collected somehow no amount of money, and then he went. They believe he's in Eastern Europe right now. The FBI and
Okay.
other people are looking for him. Well, the thing where he messed up, he could have faked his own death without doing the insurance, and there's nothing nobody could have probably done about it other than maybe charged him for all the rescue efforts they tried. They drug the lake, they did all kinds of stuff trying to find him.
Right.
But when he got the life insurance policy out and got the money from a good bit of money, I don't know how that would be collectible that fast, but whatever reason, he got $350,000 in life insurance, and also he pulled out a good bit of money he had stashed, and he supposedly his passport. Get this, here's how they got him. His passport was used crossing the Canadian border a week after he was reported missing, and then they started looking at his computer, and they found that he was had a girlfriend in Eastern Europe, so they think he's in Eastern Europe now. But what an idiot, really. If looked like he would try, that bad or something. And I'm
That
not
is
making
pretty crazy.
and wife, kids, he faked his own death, and I kind of wonder. There's several people that have been missing. There was one, uh, a boat went fishing off out of Orange Beach, and you might have been working down there then. And they had a guy on the back of the boat that was sitting on the back of the rim of the boat. And the last time he was seen, and then after that, he was supposedly had too much to drink and fell off the back of the boat, and they never did find him. So I don't
Hmm.
know if that was a murder or that was missing person or that was somebody else. But uh,
There's been several that have went quote fishing and never would find them.
yeah, or scuba diving. Somebody went scuba diving and never find you, but those could have been left out there, too. But it's just it's just weird. I mean, anybody would do that. I mean, if he's did all of this stuff to disappear, yet he uses his passport to cross. That to me, that's just he just being stupid.
Well,
Um,
since you mentioned about the Gulf, I'm assuming that you know that there are great white sharks that have been more in number
yeah,
as of late. They have actually seen more whales, and they've seen some killer whales in the Gulf, which I thought was pretty
yeah, I heard
amazing.
that. I heard that. And if you there is a website you can go on there where they tag these big great whites and they show you their swim patterns. Somebody spotted some killer whales 40.
Yeah.
And these boats go in time offshore. You know,
Oh wow.
Trisograms I think is about 25 miles offshore. So you know, if you don't live down there, it does seem like a long way off, but it's not really in the Gulf of Mexico. It's not really those guys. The charter fishermen go way out there, and if they have
Right.
these big sailfish tournaments, they'll go out 2 or 3 days offshore. Way out into the
Right.
Gulf. But I do want us to put together maybe next week a. We'll look at some of the Indians that are missing, and really try to put out. I'll put up the. Um, I'll tell you why we don't have it today, and I just thought about it. The reason why we don't have that many people is I never put a thumbnail up on this. I never put it with what we're going to talk about. Then it would have been up there for people would know ahead of time that we were coming online. So I'll blame myself for that. But next week, why don't we do that? Indians and out west, or even in the home state of Alabama too. See if there's any there. I know there are several unsolved people unsolved in Alabama. I know there was a nurse that I followed for a while that was going through a divorce. She was driving back and forth to somewhere down south, and her car was found down a dirt road, and it appeared like a struggle, but she has never been found. Somebody said, "Why is Barry Morphew still a free man?" Because they hadn't prosecuted him yet. Um, Weiss Lake, yes, I know everywhere. Uh, they haven't prosecuted him. The array in Colorado, it got disbarred because critical case, and they really just didn't. One, they didn't have a body, but they do now, and they have. If you follow the Barry Morphew case at all, they did an autopsy on the skeletal remains, and inside the bone marrow, they found traces of the same type of animal tranquilizer that Barry used to shoot animals. So I think that's a big step towards prosecution. But we were just talking about that. Um, it's going to take a. Well, you want us to talk about the complexity of charging Barry? Well, I think one, it's going to take a lot of investigation by the whoever the DA is down there, because
Mhm.
preparing a murder case for trial is huge. It can take a year just to put all of this stuff together and take it to a grand jury, especially for a case like Barry Morphew. One, the biggest thing that's hurting the Barry Morphew case, and we talked about it last week, is that you've got DNA from an unknown subject that is wanted for questioning in rapes and murders, I think, also in 3 or 4 states. And that his DNA was found on the bicycle, was found on the helmet, was found in her car. So, what I would say is Barry had an accomplice. Said that the other day. Proving Barry had an accomplice, what that's the DNA that we don't know who it is yet, is two different things. Now, what if I was running the show? If I was the DA, I would contact Terabon and the other genetic, the lady that works for the government. She's an independent contractor, and what they do is they take the DNA. She takes the DNA and does a backward search through all the different databases to find out if she can find a relative of that person's DNA, and then they hash
Track
it back
back
so
from
they
there.
can, right, to find out, to the narrow the field. And then once you have, say, 2 or 3 people that could be in a family background, then they go out and set up on them, and they try to gather their DNA through paper cups, through cigarettes, through just following them. And
That's
so
how they
maybe,
did that serial killer too.
yeah,
The one up there on the
Golden
Gilbert
State,
Beach.
maybe not the Golden State, but the other guy. I can't remember his name. But that, that's one thing. But that's expensive. That takes money to do. There's lots and lots of money. And then you got Terabon. Terabon can take that, and they can actually build a mask and a bust mask of the DNA. And they can tell you if it's a black male, white male, Hispanic, Asian. They can tell you just from the DNA. So, you know, but the two things, if they could get them to volunteer, Terabon, one, to volunteer to do that, maybe pro bono, and but the other one with the girl that actually takes the DNA and follows it back, that can take months or even years. I'm working on the John Benet Ramsey case right now. She's trying to follow that DNA that was found in the John Benet Ramsey case back to see if they can find out through, through the DNA that was found. So, and I mean, look how long that case went on. It went on for
Yeah,
years,
long, long time.
long, long time. So,
They botched that case from the get go, though, too.
yeah, they did. And this case too has got a huge problem because one of the state agents had an issue. And if you go back for preliminary hearings, there's some indications that somebody in law enforcement might have lied, and might have lied on the stand. That's what I read. So, if you got that type of thing inside the case, you really super have got an issue with that case. Not that he can never be found guilty. I believe that if it's put together right, he could. But it's it is a very complex case, and the biggest thing is that one, I think, and the other thing was that they had a case agent that was someone that it wasn't. He didn't do everything just the way you're supposed to do it. And I plan on going back and reading all the files on the preliminary hearing to see if I can gather what exactly was said. And we'll ask the right questions, maybe, that why don't they try to follow the DNA. Barry's free, Suzanne's dead. Yeah, it does. And it really mine too. Found the body. I was under the expectation they find the body, they do an autopsy on the bones, and
They'll
once
find
they
it.
found
Right.
that they would find enough to prosecute him. But I think the biggest thing is, I mean, if you just think this, you're sitting in the jury and you don't know a whole lot about everything that we even know, and they present this case and it looks very, very strong. And then they bring up the case, well, with the investigator, did you search for DNA on the bicycle? Yes. And the DNA you found was Barry Morphin's DNA, Suzanne Morphy's DNA. And we found an unknown person's DNA. And you've ran that DNA through CODIS. CODIS is a big national file that holds all the DNA, and you run that thing through CODIS. Well, yes, we did, but did you find out who it belonged to? Well, it belonged to an unknown male that was responsible for rape and murder in 3 or 4 different states. That just blows that case against Barry out of the water. That's a not guilty, and you don't want him. That's why um, they're not going to prosecute
Based
him
on
until
that, because there's
they
circumstantial
find
evidence.
out who this cat is. Now, I believe there's a good possibility he had help. And if he had help, it could be this guy, you know?
Well, the whole issue
Who
with
knows?
him bleaching and cleaning himself and the room deal where he rented that room the night she went missing, that is still pretty dead blame strong
Yeah.
of
I might
testimony
take
that
you up
could
on
be.
that fishing. uh, yeah, I think personally that there's enough evidence if they can find out what the DNA is. I just wish, like I said, I wish Terabon would do it to find out, would give us a male, Asian, Mexican, and then I wish, but you think about this, somebody that's smart enough to be involved in all of these crimes, but not get caught is another thing. I mean, I don't know. Oh, they weren't full profiles, you're saying, Maui, that the DNA were not full profiles? Well, if it wasn't a full profile, looks like to me they could. But still, I think that that's something I would throw at the jury. If I was the lawyer, his lawyer, that would be the first thing I would throw at the jury and said it's not his fault. It's this unknown person's DNA that's on that. But the fact that it was on the bike is what I read, and which I didn't know that. I thought it was only on the car, but I read where it was actually on the bike and the. You're saying no? Well, this let me tell you where I saw this at. Now I think about it, it wasn't read. I saw this lawyer that does a thing, a live stream also. The
Podcast.
lawyer the lawyer said that it was in the car and on the bike and on her clothes too. So I don't know. It. I'm like you though. I think that that they ought to. If it's up to us, we'd prosecute him. We would put him in jail, prosecute him. But I think it's a reasonable doubt that gets in there when you start throwing the fact there's other DNA of somebody that even a partial
I wonder if everybody
DNA.
knows. I was going to say, I wonder if everybody knows where they've got these panels of DNA from.
Well, that's like Maui says she heard it was found on the glove box of her car, and were all different partial profiles. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no,
still
I'm
go
talking
back and
about.
look at the. What do you mean?
I'm
I
talking
think they ran
about
it
the
through CODIS.
actual comparison of where they go to Codex and the existing files in Codex.
And
I
CODIS?
wonder if everybody knows where that actually comes from.
Well, I think CODIS, when they put that in CODIS, uh, even if you have a partial, anybody in CODIS, and you get a partial DNA, it comes up, well, it's not a full one. It has somebody in here partial DNA. Then, I don't know exactly how. I know that when you are arrested in most states now of a felony, they take your DNA.
That
And
is
if
correct.
you go to prison, they take your DNA.
That's
And
correct. But where else does it come from? Do you know that?
uh, blood, your blood, possibly. I don't know.
No.
I'm for the, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed emotions on this. I mean, do you believe that when you're born now, they take your footprint, when you're on your birth certificate?
Yeah.
I kind of believe that we ought to take your DNA. Maybe that would solve a lot of the murder and the problems there, but I don't know. That gets into a little bit of big government, but where else do they get it from?
All those free colon boxes and ancestry.com
Oh
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
exactly. That's
They
where
sell
actually.
they sell the data to Codex, and that's how. So in other words, everybody that does the trying to find their family heirloom tree and all this other stuff, then they basically get their DNA, and then the company sells the DNA, and so
Yeah,
they make money on that DNA.
well, I know that, but it's like when this when they actually run, like when you're gonna follow your DNA back to find out who is the bad guy, the like touch DNA or whatever. Like who is the guy? I know it's not uh, the guy, the serial killer. It's not. It's security truck. He painted. In fact, they arrested him inside his paint stall with a truck. I can't think of his name. Gary. Gary something. But anyway, he the way they found him was they actually went out and had the DNA of the crime scene, and they followed it back till they could find out two or three Ridgway, Gary Ridgway, Gary
Jerry
Wayne
Ridgway.
Ridgway.
Okay, I
But
was
they
wondering
followed
what
it
you were
back
saying with that.
to two or three of his family members, and then they went and followed each of them until they had a DNA sample. And I think they got him by he drinking coffee outside, and he threw a coffee cup away, and they went out there and got it. But they went under his door handles. They tried to get him in a lot of different ways, and then they finally matched it up because of that. But um, yeah, I wish that they had enough money. All the money that they waste in the with doing this stupid little silly stuff like we talked about, $3 million following snails and stuff. They ought to be putting together something like this. They can find people that are, DNAs,
Right.
partial DNA or whatever. They could trace it back. Even a partial, I believe, Maui, they could trace at least some of that back to find out, something. I don't understand though. I don't know. I don't understand totally how they. I guess when they run it through CODIS, they can see how many people have a partial DNA from that. But I don't know. If you leave a partial, you look like to me you would leave the whole thing. I don't know. I remember Susan's brother from Indiana was I understand saying it was just seems like there's no justice with some family. No, and I heard that. Uh, I don't know. I even heard that more get on the brother in trouble or whatever. Yeah, the uh, GED match. Yeah, I know Ancestry won't sell its DNA without your consent, but GED will tell you when you do. We may, because it's more broad, and they do use that. But
Here's something that I come across of an interest. Um, this is a missing persons alert, but it's a 15-year-old, and her name is Madison Kemp. Last seen November the 8th at approximately 7 p.m. at a Walmart on Federal Drive in Montgomery, Alabama. They had footage of it. She was walking with a white male who was last seen yelling at her. And I'm trying to see if there was a picture, but I don't see a picture there or anything of it.
she black female.
I don't know. I'm trying to pull up a little bit more, but it popped up on my feed here, so I noticed it. Let me see if I can do a search and find anything. Uh,
While you're looking at that, I want to say the other day I watched a thing on where Gary Williams, you remember the guy, the little black, he was kidnapping and killing little black boys in Atlanta,
yeah,
and how they were investigating that crime, and the way they found out he was black was they figured out that uh, he was hiring these little boys, paying them $2 or $3 to mow his grass, and then he would kidnap and kill them, sexually molest them, whatever, kill them. But then they sent white guys out to try to pick up little black boys just to see if they could hire them to get them to do anything, and that
yeah.
didn't work out. Gonna almost got two or three of them killed in the project. So they said right away they figured out it wasn't a white guy because he would have been put himself in danger, just being out there.
Well, this I found that it is going to be a black female. She's 5'6", 200 pounds, 15 years old, and she was last seen November the 7th at 2 a.m. in the area of Rosemary Road in Montgomery, Alabama. So apparently they had some sort of video footage beyond the
Now, what was she
issue.
doing out at 2 a.m.? That's my
No,
thing.
I don't know. I don't know, but
Um,
it's out of Montgomery. That's obviously those kind of things. Feel very sad.
yeah. Um, Now, yeah, I agree that. Um, I just wish we had a unit within. As far as I know, there's not a federal government entity that could take that the way that Turnabon, or the way that the girl that does that. There's only a few people that are trained in how to do that. That how to take this DNA and take it back, research it, and find out. Follow it down. I would love to learn how to do that, but and the biggest problem is if you're not law enforcement, or law enforcement does not request you be involved, finding a person's DNA that was left at a crime scene is you better off not not that, or have it. And yeah, I just, and what I've seen is it's very expensive to get it done. But I
Well,
wish.
there's definitely some other um, missing persons that have happened over the last couple of weeks that we'll probably need to prepare for something on our next show, and the
Yeah.
nth is still missing.
And then, like I said, I do want to cover the Indians, the Native Americans out west, because they are getting a little bit more of a footage made aware. But and I wish somebody, and I was just telling Tony Bowie and whoever else is here, I said, you know, we're over here in Alabama, Tennessee, and wherever we are in the whole country, um, putting pressure on them people over in Colorado to prosecute Morphew. They're not going to listen to us because we don't live there or we're not family. I don't understand. One thing I was hoping that would happen, I was hoping the family of Suzanne Morphew would sue Barry for wrongful death. And that would bring out a whole lot of different things. They could get him under deposition. They could get him, if they require you to take a deposition in a lawsuit, you're sworn in, and that would get him his story right there. He couldn't just do it. Do it.
Mm.
You you subpoena you. I mean, he could take the fifth, but he's got to do it. And I was hoping that they would sue him for wrongful death, and then I think that would bring up a lot. I don't to this day know why they don't. I mean, you look at what happened with O.J. Simpson. They sued him, and they got millions of dollars. And I know he's. I mean, to me, it looks like they would find that information. They would find out, you know, a bunch of stuff, and they probably would recover a good bit of money. But I don't know to this day why they do not do that. I don't know.
Only kids can sue in Colorado in civil court. In Colorado, no siblings.
You mean the family cannot, the mother and daddy cannot sue in Colorado for wrongful death? I'd want to look that up to make sure that you can't,
Never heard that.
because how did Barry sue? If that was the case, he wasn't, he sued false arrest. I'd want to know, why can't I sue? I don't have to have a relationship with somebody to sue them for wrongful death. If they went out here and killed, or say, if I had a brother and they killed a brother, that I could sue somebody for wrongful death, if especially if a DUI hit them, even what we suspect to be a murder. I think they could. You saying only the kids can sue? I would want to find that. Not that I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I would like to read that and find out, because you know to me that doesn't have anything to do with the family as much. You know, maybe he moved though from Colorado. I understand he's living. Somebody said he's living in Arizona or somewhere. I'm assuming he moved because of bad press. Um, where I wonder where I could find that out. Uh, uh, if you could sue, what limitations for lawsuits?
They still, according to what I'm seeing here, they're even still missing the Lee Marie Lankford out of South Side, Alabama. Um,
Well, there's about 20 people still missing out of in Alabama. That they one per I think a girl over there in Florence has been missing. But
there's one
Maui,
out of
where did you find
Ronayana.
that out? Because I'm gonna go and read that. To me, that's I man. Um, may I ask my Siri here, but Siri doesn't know anything.
Okay.
See, I tell my Siri that you don't know anything, Siri, and she say, okay. He bought a mobile home in Cave Creek. Is that in Colorado, Amber? He's worth in millions. I mean, why does he buy a mobile? I mean, not that a mobile home's not, I just can't. Maybe he's saving his money in case he does get sued. I don't know.
Wow, there's as it stands right now, there's 150. Let's see, where did I see it? It's supposed to be 100. I think I saw it somewhere. It was okay. Here it is. 151 active missing person cases currently in just the state of Alabama.
Uh, a little bit, but it says here, only heirs are the parents of the deceased. So her parents could sue in that order. The spouse, of course, is the one that's dead. The heirs would be her children or the parents of the deceased. In that order, may file a wrongful death claim against the at fault party. So her parents could file. They would. I don't know if especially if the kids said we don't want to file, we don't want to file. Her parents could go and say, yes, we do want to. Now I don't know if her parents are still alive or not. I don't think her father is. I don't know that if her mother is or not. Hmm. So that I don't know. That is strange though, because that is very strange. Yeah, there's even something that's kind of strange that would Maui that would tell me that you're probably right. Here it says Colorado, you generally cannot sue a non-relative for wrongful death unless they are specifically named as a designated beneficiary. Then it goes on to say, which the children are parents of the deceased, depending on the circumstances, and um, so I don't know if her parents are even still alive, though. That thing. I don't think her dad is. Her mother, I don't know if they want her mother to go through that. You know, uh, Cave it keeps in and out. Mine are both audios.
It's just yours.
Is it?
Yeah.
If it is, I'm gonna put a microphone here next time. We're actually in Albertville because I had to go to the doctor today, and then I got a doctor's appointment next week, and we will be going down to. Um, we got a few places to go. We got to go up to Nashville and stay a week or two. Then we're going down to Goofy Shores and stay a month. Um, Yeah, there's some very, the thing with the Morphe cases that's really bad. I think that so many people know about it. So many people have feelings, pretty harsh feelings about it, and yet we feel like the guy that did it is walking around out there. Especially the fact that now the autopsy, they did find her, and the autopsy has been performed, and yet you still can't.
Hmm.
Uh, our parents deceased, yeah, that kind of puts a kibosh on it. But unless the DA comes up and says we're going to prosecute, I'm afraid that it. Of course, there's one thing we got to look at. There's no citations on murder, rape, child abuse. I think only three now that there's no statute of limitations on.
Well, one
So
thing that somebody put up, Alabama Shea Green, they brought up the Madeline Soto case. I know that they had something that was squirrely in that case with the mother finally that came to light. And particularly, they went back and did some reviews of her interviews, and that's going to be pretty interesting because of what happened with that.
uh, I'm hoping that we'll do some type of they've looked at the Morpheus and a bunch of the different things. I think 2020 has looked at it and stuff, but it the more that like 48 hours or something like that looks at it, the more it kind of becomes under a microscope, and we can only hope that something happens. I know that I think the darts, the phone coverage, the fact they got him on film throwing trash away at several different sites. I just wish that somebody had found something in the trash and said, this doesn't look right, and then and see where that goes. Well, listen, it's been we've been on here a while, and I'll try to make a thumbnail next time that that gives y'all a little bit more heads up. And we are definitely going to go into the Indian Native Americans next week, and we'll cover a couple of locals. And we can talk about this again once something happens. We're kind of beating a dead horse now, and maybe if something happens where they do something, the you know something that would categorize put this partial DNA on us. And Maui, thanks for looking that up for me. I appreciate it. And we will be back on next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Unless y'all think we need to do it another day and just send me an email on it. But that works better for us at 8 o'clock, and that's Eastern or Central Time. So anyway, thank y'all for coming on tonight, and I appreciate it. And yeah, absolutely. But Maui, I sure appreciate you finding out that for me. And Alabama Shagreen, I think I know who that is. And y'all take care of yourself, and we will see you next week. Okay.